I really worry, and I know the people say develop the plans, develop the proposals, but I worry that that's what the liberal media here wants Pierre Poilievre to do. Make himself the issue, let them hold him accountable,
for his solution.
while the government, you know, continues on what I think is, for the most part, a pretty poor course, and they're off the hook. The time to tell people about your alternatives in detail is in an election campaign. And look, what's important though is, while you're not talking about those details now, you better be developing them in the meantime. And I can tell you from experience, once you get into office, you better have some idea then what you're going to do, because it ain't going to fall into your lap. And look, unfortunately, when Pierre becomes the next prime minister, and I believe that's going to happen, he's going to face. I was very fortunate, you know. I was one of the rare conservative prime ministers in 100 years who came to office when things were actually pretty good, and I don't think Pierre is going to come in under those kind of circumstances.
No, that's true. One of the benefits, or just going back to Charlottetown, or to any kind of a campaign, and I know there's a lot of younger people here that have been studying campaign techniques, is the importance of, when we had a lot of meetings, 200-300 meetings a year, is to hang around afterwards. And it's not just for glad handing and smiling at people. Listen hard to what people will try to say back to you, what you were saying to them. But they will say it in language and with analogies that they would use, that they were trying to explain what you were saying to them to somebody else. And one of the ones I remember from Reach Lake and Charlottetown, of course, because these were arguments with constitutional things you could put people to sleep by. We had a big, long thing reciting on all the previous attempts to try to get national unity through constitutional change and how they failed. But it was dull, and you'd put a crowd like you to sleep. And after one of those meetings, I think it was during the Charlottetown Accord, I was talking to people after, and then this guy says to me, he says, "We're like kids in the back of the car," he says, "and we're trying to get to this place called national unity, and we're just saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet?" Well, I refrained my whole, we're like kids in the back of the car, and we let Pierre Trudeau drive the car for a while, and he's giving guys the finger out of the, and then he says it's over by some lake then, and then we let Joe drive the car, but Joe forgot to put gas into it very long. And then now Brian says it's over by some other, this Charlottetown thing, and we're just saying, and Rennie Levesque's in the back saying he's going to be sick if we don't let him out. And, you know, I carried that whole argument of constitutional attempts to reform or unite the country through constitutional change, and it was based on an analogy like that. And I think it's important in any of this campaign to listen hard to what people are saying back to you, because they will use language and illustrations that can be useful to you in election campaigns, referendum campaigns.
But look, I'd also add to all that, Preston, what is forgotten now is it wasn't just the positions that people had on those issues, that those weren't the issues that people actually cared about. Like we were, early 90s, we were entering a recession. And everybody wanted to focus on the economy and budgeting and taxes, and the governments were focused on constitutional debates. And that